My girlfriend laughed. Him calling me wifey is just an inside joke. You were being weird. After I watched her text save me some next time. Husband, I said, that is fine. Then moved out. The next morning, her husband called me and M31, been with my girlfriend F28 for about 2 years. Need some outside perspective on this. So this happened 3 days ago, and I am still processing it. My girlfriend Tessa and I have been living together for the past 8 months. Things were solid, or at least I thought they were. About 6 weeks ago, I started noticing this guy Ryan constantly texting her. Like, constantly. Morning texts that made her smile in that specific way. Late night calls when she had step outside to take them. When I asked about it, she said he was just a friend from her marketing group. Someone she had been helping with his fitness goals since he is a personal trainer. Fair enough. I am not the jealous type, never have been. My dad walked out when I was 12 after months of fighting with my mom about trust issues, so I learned early that either you trust someone or you don't. There is no middle ground that ends well. But last Tuesday, I came home from the job site early. We finished the concrete pour ahead of schedule. Tessa was on the couch, laughing at her phone. I could see the text thread over her shoulder before she noticed me. The guy had sent her a photo of his dinner with the caption, "Wish Wifey was here to share this with me." She was typing back AW. Save me some next time. Husband, I stood there for a few seconds, reading these messages. My stomach didn't drop through the floor or any of that dramatic shit, it just went quiet inside. The way it gets when you realize something you have been trying not to see. Hey, I said, who is calling you wifey? She jumped, nearly dropped her phone. Oh, that is just Ryan. It is an inside joke. What kind of inside joke? We were talking about meal prep and I joked that he eats like an old married man, so now he calls me his wife. It is stupid. Really. I looked at her for a long minute. He calls you his wife. It is not like that. Wade, you are being weird about this. That is when I knew. Not because of the text themselves, but because of how she said it. Like I was the problem for having a normal reaction to another man calling my girlfriend his wife. I have seen this movie before. My dad did the same dance with my mom, lots of talking, lots of working things out, lots of promises while he kept one foot out the door the whole time. I was 12, but I wasn't stupid. I watched him string her along for 8 months while he figured out if the grass was greener somewhere else. I learned something from that. When someone shows you where their priorities are, believe them the first time. So I didn't fight about it. Didn't demand to see the phone or ask for explanations or give ultimatums. I just said okay and went to take a shower. Wednesday, I took a personal day and moved my stuff out while she was at work. Everything I owned fit in my truck and my buddy's trailer in 2 trips. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Wifey and husband shouldn't have to sneak around. I am out. Woo. Her spare key went in the envelope with it. She called me 17 times that night. 17, I answered on the last one. What the hell, Wade, you just disappeared. You have got your husband problem solved. It is not like that and you know it. Can we please talk about this like adults? Adults don't need to explain why they leave when someone calls their replacement. Wifey, good luck, Tessa. I haven't answered her calls since. Here is where I might be the asshole. My mom thinks I cut and ran too fast. Says I should have given her a chance to explain. Maybe set some boundaries instead of just bailing. My coworker Tommy agrees, says I threw away 2 years over some texts. But I keep thinking about my dad and all those chances he got to explain himself while he was shopping for my mom's replacement. The explanation never mattered. He was already gone. He just hadn't moved out yet. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe it really was innocent, and I torched a good relationship over nothing. But honest to God, the way she said you are being weird about this felt like the first line of a script I have heard before. So am I the asshole for leaving without warning instead of fighting for what we had? Update 1. So here is what happened after I posted. Thursday morning, day after I moved out, Tessa apparently decided the best way to prove this was all innocent was to bring Ryan to the apartment to clear the air with me. She had been calling and texting nonstop, getting increasingly frantic about how I was overreacting and throwing away something good over a misunderstanding. According to what I pieced together later, her plan was to have all 3 of us sit down so Ryan could explain their friendship, and I could see how wrong I was. Except when they got to the apartment, all they found was my note on the counter and empty closets. Ryan called me. Yeah, the husband himself. Hey man, this is Ryan Caldwell. I think there has been some confusion. No confusion on my end, I told him. Congratulations on the wife. Long pause. What wife? You tell me, brother. You are the one who calls her wifey. Another pause, longer this time. Wait. You two were. Are you her boyfriend? And that is when it clicked for me. This guy had no idea I existed. I could hear Tessa in the background trying to grab the phone, saying something about how she could explain everything. But Ryan wasn't done talking. Dude, I thought you were her roommate or something. She never, we have been. He stopped. Ah, shit. I am sorry, man. I had no idea. What exactly did you think was happening between you two? I thought. Look, we have been talking for months. She stays over at my place sometimes when she says her roommate is being loud. We haven't, physically, but emotionally. Yeah, I thought she was single. I actually felt bad for the guy. She told you I was her roommate? Roommate who worked early shifts, which is why she could never stay over on weekends. Said you were kind of antisocial, kept to yourself mostly. So there it was. I wasn't just the boyfriend being kept in the dark. I was the roommate being explained away. I told Ryan I appreciated him calling and that he seemed like a decent guy who got played. He said he felt like shit and was going to talk to Tessa about what the hell she thought she was doing. Then Tessa called me herself. Wade, please. Just let me explain. You told him I was your antisocial roommate. Silence. You told him I was your antisocial roommate who works early shifts, which is why your husband could never spend weekends at your place. It wasn't like that. What was it like, Tessa? Because from where I am sitting, it looks like you were test driving a replacement while keeping me as backup. I wasn't replacing you. I was confused about what I wanted. And rather than figure that out, honestly, you decided to keep both options running. More silence? You know what the crazy part is? I said. If you had just been straight with me from the beginning, said you were having doubts, said you wanted to explore other connections, I would have respected that. I would have been hurt, but I would have respected it. Instead, you made me the crazy jealous boyfriend for noticing another man calling you his wife. I never meant for it to go this far. How far did you mean for it to go? Exactly. She couldn't answer that. I hung up and blocked her number. My mom still thinks I should have stayed and fought for the relationship. Says love means working through the hard stuff, not walking away at the first sign of trouble. But here is the thing. This wasn't the first sign of trouble. This was me finally paying attention to signs I had been ignoring for weeks. The late-night work calls, the way she would angle her phone away when texting, the sudden interest in girls' nights that seemed to happen every time I had weekends free. I learned something from my dad's bullshit. When someone wants to be somewhere else, you cannot love them into staying. You can just exhaust yourself trying. Ryan texted me yesterday. Thanks for being straight with me. She has been trying to explain this away as some kind of misunderstanding, but I am done. You seem like a good dude who deserved better. Yeah, I think I did deserve better. Update 2. This keeps getting weirder. So after my last update, I figured that would be the end of it. Tessa and Ryan both knew the truth. I was out. Everyone could move on. I was wrong. Turns out Tessa decided to take this public. My buddy Jake started sending me screenshots 3 days ago. She had posted this long Instagram story about how she was working through the pain of abandonment, and how some people run at the first sign of conflict instead of fighting for love. The post was all about how she had been emotionally abandoned by someone she trusted, and how she was learning to heal from the trauma of someone disappearing without warning. Real victim narrative stuff, complete with crying selfies and inspirational quotes about surviving heartbreak. She never mentioned the Ryan situation, made it sound like I just randomly decided to vanish one day because I couldn't handle a mature relationship. At first, I was content to let her tell whatever story helped her sleep at night. I am not big on airing personal business on social media, and honestly, anyone who knows me knows that is not how I operate. But then it got complicated. Ryan, bless him, apparently saw her posts and lost his mind. Started commenting on them, asking why she wasn't mentioning the part where she had been calling him her husband while living with me. Asked why she forgot to mention that she had told him I was just some antisocial roommate. She deleted his comments and blocked him. So he made his own post. I didn't see it directly since I am not on Instagram much. But Jake sent screenshots. Ryan basically laid out the whole timeline from his perspective, how they had been emotionally involved for months, how she had told him I was just a roommate, how shocked he was to learn she had a boyfriend. Then he dropped the bomb, and for the record, she wasn't just doing this with me. Found out yesterday she has been pulling the same close friendship routine with at least 2 other guys from her gym. We all thought we were special. That is when other people started chiming in. Turns out this isn't Tessa's first rodeo with this kind of thing. Her ex before me, a guy named Maddox, commented on Ryan's post, saying she had done the exact same thing to him. Had some guy on the side she claimed was just a friend, right up until Maddox caught them together. Maddox said he spent months trying to make it work after that. Going to couples counseling, setting boundaries. The whole thing, she just got better at hiding it. Then someone else, a girl named Isla, who apparently works with Tessa, shared her own story about how Tessa had been complaining about her boring roommate situation for months while talking about this amazing guy she would met at the gym. So it seems like I wasn't paranoid. I was actually behind the curve on figuring out what was happening. The whole thing blew up enough that Tessa deleted her original posts and made her account private. Too late though. Screenshots live forever. And apparently enough mutual friends saw everything that the story got around. I found out about all this because my mom called me yesterday morning. Wade, honey, I owe you an apology. For what? I talked to Linda Hendricks, you remember, Tessa's old boss from that marketing firm. She said she wasn't surprised when she heard what happened. Apparently Tessa had a reputation for, well, keeping her options open. Mom, I was wrong to tell you to fight for someone who wasn't fighting for you. I am proud of you for knowing your worth. That hit me harder than I expected. My mom's been on me my whole life about not cutting and running like my dad did. Hearing her say she was wrong about this situation, I don't know, it mattered. Tommy from work also changed his tune after his girlfriend showed him all the Instagram drama. Jesus, Wade. She really had a whole roster, didn't she? Good call, man. The weirdest part is how vindicated I feel, which I hate. I don't want to be the kind of person who needs to be proven right about why a relationship ended, but after weeks of wondering if I had overreacted, if I had thrown away something good over a misunderstanding, it helps to know my instincts were solid. Ryan texted me again yesterday. Dude, I keep thinking about how she had us both fooled. Makes me wonder what else I missed. Thanks for not taking this out on me. I told him we were good. Guy got played just as much as I did. Tessa tried calling from a different number 2 nights ago. I picked up without thinking. Wade, please don't hang up. What do you want, Tessa? I want to apologize. Really apologize. Not just try to explain it away. I waited. You were right about everything. I was keeping my options open because I was scared of committing fully to anyone. I thought if I kept connections with other people, I would feel less trapped. So you decided to trap me instead. I never meant for it to be like that. I thought I could just figure out what I wanted without anyone getting hurt. Did you figure it out? Long pause. Yeah, I figured out that what I want doesn't matter if I am not willing to be honest about it. No. I am not asking you to take me back or anything. I just wanted you to know that you were right to leave. I wasn't ready to be anyone's girlfriend, let alone yours. We talked for maybe 10 more minutes. She cried a little. I didn't. By the end of it, I mostly just felt sorry for her. After I hung up, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. Hadn't been for a while, actually, just done. Edit. A lot of people are asking if I think she has really changed or if this is just another manipulation. Honestly, I don't know and I don't care. That is not my problem to figure out anymore. Edit 2. To answer the question about whether I will ever trust someone again. Yeah, I think so. But I am definitely paying closer attention to actions versus words going forward. Final update. Final update on this situation since people have been asking. It has been about 7 months since I walked out of that apartment, and I wanted to close the loop on how things turned out. First, the Tessa situation. She reached out one more time about 3 months ago, asking if I wanted to get coffee and talk through everything properly. I declined, not out of anger, honestly. I had moved past being angry a long time ago, but because I realized there wasn't anything left to talk through. She had shown me who she was, I had acted accordingly, and that was that. From what I hear through mutual friends, she took some time off social media and started seeing a therapist. Good for her. I hope she figures out whatever she needs to figure out. Just glad it is not my job anymore. Ryan and I actually grabbed beers a few weeks after everything blew up. Decent guy who got caught in the same mess I did. We don't hang out regularly or anything, but we will nod if we see each other around town. No hard feelings. The real update, though, is about something else entirely. My coworker Jamie mentioned that his sister was moving back to Denver after finishing her nursing degree. Said she was looking for people to check out the local hiking trails with, and did I want to meet up for a group hike sometime. I almost said no, wasn't really looking to date anyone. Still felt like I needed more time to process the whole Tessa situation. But Jake convinced me to go. Worst case, you get some exercise and make a friend. Her name's Claire. She is 29, just finished her BSN, moving back home to help take care of her dad who is recovering from a heart attack. The first thing I noticed about her was how direct she was. Asked me straight up if I was seeing anyone. Said she would rather know up front than waste time guessing. I told her I had gotten out of something messy recently and wasn't sure I was ready to date. Fair enough, she said. How about we just be hiking buddies and see what happens? 6 months later, we are still hiking together. Among other things, here is what is different about Claire. She doesn't play games when she wants to see me. She says so. When something bothers her, she brings it up directly instead of hoping I will read her mind. When she says she will call, she calls. What after 2 years of trying to decode hidden meanings and manage someone else's emotional chaos? Simple feels revolutionary. 3 weeks ago, we were planning a camping trip and she got a text that made her smile. Instead of angling her phone away or acting cagey about it, she just said, "My friend Isla's engaged, want to see the ring?" That is when it hit me how different this felt from my last relationship. With Tessa, I was constantly wondering what she wasn't telling me. With Claire, I don't wonder because she just tells me things. Last weekend, I mentioned to Claire that I had been thinking about my dad lately, how watching him string my mom along taught me that actions matter more than words. She listened, then said something that stuck with me. Sounds like you learned the right lesson from a shitty situation. A lot of people learn the wrong lessons and end up repeating the same patterns. She is right. I could have learned that all women are untrustworthy, or that relationships aren't worth the risk, or that I should become controlling and possessive to prevent future betrayals. Instead, I learned to pay attention to what people do, not just what they say, to trust my instincts when something feels off, to walk away from situations that require me to constantly explain why I deserve basic respect. Those lessons led me to someone who gives respect freely, instead of making me earn it. My mom met Claire last month and pulled me aside afterward. She is good for you. You seem settled. In a good way. I knew what she meant. With Tessa, I had always felt like I was auditioning for the role of boyfriend, trying to be interesting enough or stable enough or whatever enough to keep her attention. With Claire, I am just myself, and that seems to be working out fine for both of us. Someone asked in my last post if I had ever trust someone again. Turns out the answer is yes. I just needed to find someone worth trusting. To anyone dealing with something similar, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. If someone makes you feel like you are crazy for having normal reactions to abnormal situations, they are probably not your person. And if you have to constantly wonder where you stand with someone, you are probably not standing anywhere good. Thanks to everyone who weighed in on this saga. Internet strangers giving perspective helped more than you know. Edit. People are asking about the wrong lessons Claire mentioned. Examples would be becoming paranoid and checking partners' phones, becoming controlling to prevent future betrayals, swearing off relationships entirely, or choosing partners you don't really care about to avoid getting hurt again. All understandable responses to betrayal, but none of them actually solve the problem. Edit 2. Final thought. Someone in the comments said they wished they had had my strength to walk away from their situation. I want to be clear, it wasn't strength. It was pattern recognition. I had seen what staying looked like from watching my parents, and I decided I didn't want to live that way. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is learn from other people's mistakes instead of insisting on making them yourself.